Well, thank you everybody for coming. I very much appreciate you all coming out on this warm day. Before we get started, I also want to welcome some of the elected officials and guests we have with us today. From the county legislature, we have Legislator Tom McKevitt, who's also a co-sponsor on both of these bills. Legislator William Gaylor, Colonel William Gaylor. Legislator Rose Walker, to my right. We also had from the town of Hempstead, Councilman Dennis Dunn. New York State Assemblyman John Mickelin. From the Nassau County Police Department, 8th Precinct, we have Pop Officer Mike Biladello and Sergeant John McGovern. I'd also like to thank the Island Trees School Superintendent, Dr. Charles Murphy, who's also here with us. And we also have the administrator of the Facebook group Levittown Moms, Barbara Ann Fazzino, who's here with us as well. Also, the founder of the Joey Foundation charity, come on up, Ann, we have Ann Torsivia. So I want to thank you all for being here. Before we get started and I get into the two bills that we've introduced, I want to make one thing very clear. The tragedy that happened on June 30th, 2019 in Levittown with young Andrew Alati has nothing to do with the bills that we are here for today. Andrew was not part of one of the ride-outs that we are here to address today. He has never participated in any kind of reckless or criminal biking behavior, and I want to make that very, very clear from the onset. Today we are here to address two bills that are now filed with the county legislature that deal with bicycle safety. And this was brought to light due to the rise of bicycle accidents really nationwide. Specifically in New York City, as of July 23, 2019, for the calendar year 2019 alone, there had already been 17 bicycle deaths. A recent study by The Guardian shows that helmets reduce the risk of head injury by 65%, serious head injury by 70%, face injuries by 33%, and they indicate a 65% reduction in fatal injuries if you're wearing a bicycle helmet. Nationwide, only 69% of children under the age of 16 wear a bicycle helmet. According to the National Highway Traffic Studies, 818 bicyclists died on U.S. roads in 2015, and 45,000 were injured. When it comes to bicycle helmets, I often like to make an analogy to ski helmets. If there are any avid skiers out there, you may know 20 to 25 years ago, wearing a ski helmet was taboo. Very, very few people wore ski helmets, and if you were a young child wearing a ski helmet, you'd often be poked fun at by your friends. But today, if you go to a ski slope, it's actually the opposite. If you're not wearing a ski helmet, you're the one that's out of place. And that's what we need to do in Nassau County and nationwide. We need to make it taboo to not be wearing a bicycle helmet. So this bill will require that all bicyclists and people on scooters, inline skates, and skateboards will have to wear a bicycle helmet up until the age of 18. The second bill that we filed deals with a new trend going on in our communities here on Long Island, and that's called a ride-out. A ride-out is an organized bicycle ride by a group of children, usually organized on social media, where the children get together with the intent of essentially terrorizing motorists by driving in the wrong direction, sometimes in the center of traffic, weaving before vehicles in an attempt to get the vehicles to weave. Of course, this poses a dangerous risk not only to the children who are doing this reckless activity, but it poses a risk to the drivers and the occupants of the vehicle that these children are terrorizing. Sometimes the children are popping wheelies in front of the vehicles, sometimes they're just driving straight on, but in any event, these organized groups are posing a dangerous risk to our community, and we have to do something to stop it. Often these children will have video cameras that they'll put either in their hands or on their waist or on a necklace, and they'll video the ride out, post it online in hopes of getting what they call clickbait, which is the most amount of people they can get to click on their videos and watch what they're doing. And so what we've noticed is a vicious cycle of parents recognizing this behavior and clicking on the videos to watch the behavior, sharing that video on social media, and what you're doing is giving the children the very thing that they seek, which is that clickbait. And so this problem has been ongoing for months in Nassau County, and I, along with my colleagues, have worked with the Nassau County Police Department to really crack down on this behavior. But recently the police department reached out to me and informed me that the current laws are not specific enough. There's really no law on the books that deals with this behavior specifically. And so we have introduced a bill that will impound the bikes of any person engaging in this ride-out type of behavior. I want to make very clear, this bill is not intended to incriminate any child that is riding their bike responsibly or innocently. This is specifically dealing with children that are participating in these ride-outs. That's the point of the bill. So, their bikes will be permitted to be impounded by the Nassau County Police Department. Additionally, if they're over the age of 12 years old, they'll be charged with a misdemeanor, punishable by a fine of $100. This bill makes it abundantly clear and sends a strong message not just to the children who are participating in these reckless events, but also to their parents. Nassau County takes this very seriously, and we as a community need to do the same. My hope is that no child will ever be charged with this misdemeanor. So we need to continue educating our children and parents. And to that end, along with Town Councilman Dennis Dunn, the Town Receiver of Taxes Donald Clavin, and Assemblyman John Mickelin, we have a scheduled town community meeting where children and parents are invited in conjunction with the Nassau County Police Department on August 21st at 6 p.m. at the Levittown Library, where we will explain this bill. The police department will have a short presentation, and then we'll have a Q&A with parents and children. My hope is that with all of us acting as one community, in addition, this bill becoming law, we can curb this behavior and ensure that a tragedy doesn't happen before it does. At this time, I'd like to introduce Legislator Tom McKevitt to say a few words, who is the co-sponsor of both bills.
Thank you very much, John. Just want to thank everyone for being here. Also want to thank Dr. Tony McDonald from the Levittown School District for her support in this instance as well. You know, when we're talking a situation, it's amazing how epidemic in the last couple of months that we've seen more and more of these videos of, again, literally students, children on bikes confronting motorists, literally coming right at them and causing a lot of fear, and one time someone's going to get hurt. And the one thing we want to make sure in this county is that no one ever gets hurt in any situation whatsoever. So we're hoping that these bills today will go and help promote that safety in one more instance. As well as the fact that, you know, I talk to parents and they say, you know what, after the age of 13, the New York State law doesn't apply. I'm getting my 16-year-old trying to wear a bicycle helmet. They won't do it because their friends won't do it. It's not the cool thing. Well, now it's going to be the law. And we're going to make sure everyone under the age 18 is wearing the helmet, because it's just basically a function of public safety. You know, certainly the brain's still developing, but everyone, frankly, I have a rule in my house, no one leaves the driveway without a helmet, myself included, and we want to make sure it applies to everyone as well. But just even those for teenagers, be safe, ride correctly, and wear the helmets. Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator McKevitt. I'd now like to introduce from the 8th Precinct, Pop Officer Mike Billadello. Say a few words.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. On behalf of the 8th Precinct, Nassau County Police Department, and I'd like to thank all our elected officials, Legislator Ferretti, for taking an aggressive and proactive approach in this growing need of public safety. The department has reached out several times, and in coordination, we welcome all and any laws passed to assist us in carrying out this need for public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Billadello. I'd now like to introduce the founder of the Joey Foundation charity and a concerned citizen, Ann Torsivia.
Hi, I'm the president and founder of the Joey Foundation, and we help children. And to see what's going on with the children riding recklessly is so not right. And I stand behind Legislator Ferretti and everything that they're trying to do to keep our kids safe. Thank you. This is great.
Thank you. Thank you, Ann. I'd like to introduce Legislator Colonel William Gaylor.
Thank you, John. Okay, my name is Bill Gaylor. I'm the legislator for the 6th District, which is down by Valley Stream, Limbrook, Malvern area. We have the same problem with the kids doing these ride-outs down Merrick Road. And so I'm here today to show support for my two colleagues and all the elected officials here, community members, and the outpouring of people that are before us, because this is a countywide problem. Don't think that it's just regionally right here to this area. This problem with kids riding without their helmets, doing the ride-outs, doing the wheelies down Merrick Road and Valley Stream happens multiple times every day. And so I commend my colleagues in local government, state government that are here before us, our community representatives, advocates, and superintendents, and everybody here that's in support of this bill. This is just getting back to basics. It's vital, it's important, and I'm glad to be standing here with this great community on this very important public safety matter. So thank you very much. Thank you, John, for allowing me to speak for a moment.
Thank you, Legislator. Thank you, Legislator Gaylor. Next, we have Legislator Rose Walker.
Thank you, Legislator Ferretti, and I thank you and Legislator McKevitt for addressing this issue and putting legislation forward. We addressed this a couple of years ago in the King Cullen parking lot over in Bethpage, where children were riding their bikes recklessly in the parking lot and cutting in front of cars, and it was a big issue then, and it has only become more of an issue now that we see students and young children riding down the middle of Old Country Road, down the middle of Levittown Parkway, Stewart Avenue, Central Boulevard in Bethpage, and many of the other streets in my district, which is the 17th Legislative District. But it does affect each and every one of us. And the scary part is they think they're being funny. You know, they think this is okay, kind of almost like dares that, you know, let's see how close we can get, let's see how much we can scare people. But God forbid that car goes out of control, hits them, hits another vehicle, goes into a home. You know, so much more injury could take place, or even death. So it's something we needed to address, and certainly everyone wearing a helmet. My grandchildren know that Grandma doesn't let them go out on their bicycles at all without a helmet. And I thank the parents who stopped over to listen to what's being said and explaining as we're speaking to your children, because it is such an important issue. And you know, kids sometimes just think, oh, it's a pain in the neck, and the helmets, you know, it's annoying, and even when they're little, they sometimes think it's annoying, but it's so very, very important to keep them safe. We lost a young boy, one of our Hicksville High School students, 16. We lost him just a few weeks before school ended, and you know, it really hit home to our kids there. And I'm working with the Hicksville School District, with Bethpage, and with all we can do to promote bicycle safety and teach our kids what they should do and what they shouldn't do when they're on their bicycles. So thank you so much, and thank you for having this today.
Thank you, Legislator Walker. Legislator Steve Rhodes.
Thank you, Legislator Ferretti. I'm very excited about this particular piece of legislation, because the bottom line is we want to find ways that we can help empower parents and help parents keep our kids safe. And I think one of the best aspects of this bill is that you really are empowering parents. If a bicycle is in fact involved in any type of dangerous activity, the police have the ability to impound that bicycle. And in the case of a minor, that bicycle will only be released to one of that child's parents. And that's an important tool for parents, because many times you send your kids out there and you hope that they're doing the right thing. You want to make sure that they're doing the right thing, but sometimes they're not. And in this way, the parents are going to have the opportunity to know and take corrective action to make sure that their kids are acting safely when they're out on a bicycle. I'm sure Legislator Ferretti has spoken about complaints that we've received from residents in our area of groups of kids that are actually riding their bicycles in a pack, dodging in between vehicles that are out on the road, essentially terrorizing motorists. And we've received several phone calls asking what can be done to stop that. And I think that this can be an important tool by making parents aware of the fact that this activity is going on and making parents physically come to pick up the bicycle, in addition to promoting safety for our kids and making sure that they wear helmets. So I want to thank Legislator Ferretti for his leadership on the issue, and I'm looking forward to passage of the bill.
Thank you, Legislator Rhodes. Our next speaker is a Levittown staple who's been at the forefront of protecting our kids in the Levittown community, and for the 22 years prior to my stint as a legislator protecting kids in Nassau County, and that is our Town of Hempstead Councilman Dennis Dunn.
Thank you, John, for bringing this to the attention of the police department and the public. This, one thing before I say anything, Dr. Charles Murphy from the Island Tree School District, our superintendent's here also. We mentioned Levittown, but we can't forget Island Trees. We physically sit in Island Tree School District right now. But the behavior of these children that they think it's funny, it's not funny. When you see a mom with the distraction of the kids in the back seat, with whatever she has on the seat, with groceries or whatever, having to jam on the brakes and worry about the kids, or swerve out of the way of somebody coming at her, a dare coming at her, and maybe hit a car, or maybe toss the kids in the car around. There's too many distractions in the car as it is. To have something coming at you is really terrible, and it's about time we did something. And John and Tom McKevitt and John Ferretti for starting this legislation, and I'm sure that all the my colleagues that used to be with in the government and the county legislature are going to co-sponsor this also. I'm sure you're all on board. They wouldn't be here speaking if they weren't on board. So I appreciate what you're doing. You don't reward bad behavior. You got to stop it. And giving them, the police, the tools to do something to stop it is what's really key here. And I want to thank you, and I'm here supporting that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Dunn. And last we have another supporter of the Levittown community. He's our New York State Assemblyman, John Mickelin.
Thank you, Legislator Ferretti, and thank you everybody for coming and supporting this bill today. I'm here today in support of the newly proposed law for Nassau County to promote bike safety. Bike safety is something that I plan on pushing not just for Long Island, but for the state. And recently, I have co-sponsored legislation that would increase the mandatory age of 14 in New York State to 18 to wear a bicycle helmet. All cyclists are encouraged to wear a helmet as well. That being said, the issue of children playing chicken with vehicles has become a growing problem here on Long Island. And it is imperative to give law enforcement the tools necessary to stop the dangerous operation of bicycles and scooters. I have and will continue to work for the people of the state of New York to promote bicycle safety. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, any questions from the media?
I wonder if we can get the officer back on the thing. Just how prevalent is this? Is this a growing trend?
Oh, come up here.
And how is this a growing trend, and how prevalent is this, and is this going to help you guys do your job?
The trend that we're seeing is that it has been steadily growing. We do receive sometimes several calls a day, and they are resulting recently in disturbances throughout the precinct between motorists and the children involved. So again, thankful for the elected officials taking a proactive approach and allowing us to take action in this matter.
These new rules, and you know, on the books. Hey, what do you do now when you get like 5, 7 kids, and you stop them? You know, what can you do now, and how is this going to be different?
Well, at this point, there's no criminal action involved, so the department is taking a brief matter of enforcement in that we can temporarily seize the property and then turn it back over to a parent or guardian at a later date and time. The child will be issued a property receipt and to allow the safe return.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You had said that this is